Or you got more people coming in from?
Pam may be joining as well.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I don't know how much you know about SSEC. I think I missed. I can't remember. There was two. There was STARS, and then there was SSEC. I can't remember if I missed both of the demos or just one of them. Do you remember, Zach, the SSEC demo?
To be honest, it's been a couple months.
Yeah, right. So can you give us a rundown of what they want to do? I don't think Pam probably. Oh, you can't either?
Pam might be able to. I think Mark is the one that knows the most about what they're trying to do.
Is this going to be a short meeting?
From what I gather, right, so they're actually a partner of ours on the wireless LAN side of things. They
okay, that makes sense.
They do physical installs and site surveys and that sort of thing. And I think they were looking for a solution to help them manage hardware inventories as they're doing deployments at some of these large-scale installations.
Okay.
That's what I think. But again, I haven't talked to them specifically about this project, but I have worked extensively with them in the past on implementing Wi-Fi projects. So familiar with them as a company, but not sure of the particular goals on this one.
Okay. Is that Pam?
Hi, yes.
Hey, Pam.
Howdy.
Good afternoon.
So you have Ben. Good. We have Ben and Zach from our end. So Pam, how much do you know about what SSEC wants to do?
Not much. I'm just going to here, let me pull up the project again, sorry.
Zach and I don't remember anything.
Okay.
I'm trying to find it in my notes, but
well, we have a SOW, so let me just pull that up, sorry. Been working on something else here. I need to switch gears.
Who's the salesperson on this, Pam?
Sorry, Kurt. 1 second, I can tell you.
I think it's Mark.
Well, he would have been, oh, okay. Well, he would have been working with somebody. Let's see here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so they want to inventory track their parts and shipping and receiving. They're looking for a ship-in, ship-out system. And they have QuickBooks as well as Microsoft Access. They have about 1,000 cables and miscellaneous items they want to identify and track. And they want the ability to check in, check out items.
So
and they have wireless, and they don't need any type of backbone. They'll have. Go ahead. 15 to 20 users. Go ahead.
Okay, but we only sold them a 3 concurrent user system, right? So they're going to have 15 to 20 users, but only 3 in at a time.
Okay.
Is that the?
I guess so. Okay, and I guess they have Kindle tablets, and
right.
They're going to use the Kindle tablets with the Bluetooth.
I do remember
scanner.
testing the. Yeah, I do remember the Kindle tablet, but I don't remember the functionality. So, you know, we have a perpetual inventory system. Can we get them to use our purchase order system so that we know what's on order? Or
that's, again, that I think will be part of the SRDS as far as, you know, because they're using QuickBooks, so you'd like them to get away from that, right? Because you can do ordering in QuickBooks, right?
It's part of how the system works in terms of, you know, it makes it easier if they're purchasing through the system. That way they don't have to import things back and forth. But, you know, either method can work. It just depends on, you know, what their specific use case is going to be and how they want it to integrate.
Right, and so that's what this SOW is, just kind of like a high level so I don't know if they saw a demo or not, but they went with it, and so one of the things or challenges that Kurt's going to address for us is you know, going down there and doing an SRDS, whether you guys are on the line, you know, with him, you know, helping us do that, because, you know, and it's really on how are they going to configure the system, how are they going to use the system, and then at that time would be, you know, where we raise these questions. I would imagine to say, you know, can you use our ordering system?
Okay, so what do you want? Do you want us to show you some of the system functionality now? What do you want to get out of this phone call? Kurt? Or Pam?
I'll let Kurt, because he's the one that's got to do it.
Yes, I'm recording this, by the way, Kurt, so we can put it up on YouTube for you so you can replay it if we get into some functionality.
So Pam, it sounds like they're looking for asset tracking?
It said inventory. So they have some things they'll check in, check out, so it has to be, I would think it would have to be, or it could be cables where they took out, you know, 100 yards or whatever and then came back with 45 or something like that. So it just says inventory tracking. So that's all that's all we have right now to go on, and that's what, again, going down there would be more how you can use the system, what do you want to track, is it assets or is it, you know, truly inventory.
Who's the salesperson, do we know?
Well, let me look at that.
I guess, guys, I haven't even seen the software one time, right? So if we have access to kind of walk through some of the stuff that a person in, you know, ABR's role would get involved with, that would be helpful, I guess.
Okay.
And we just probably still look to you guys to train, okay? And again, it might be a combination where someone's down on site or we fly you guys out. Again, we're just trying to determine what we're going to do.
Zach, I'm going to make you the presenter.
Gotcha.
And I'm recording it. Now, Kurt, Zach can go pretty quick, which is a good thing and a bad thing. And I am recording it so you can rewatch it. But I just encourage you to, if Zach's going too fast, just jump in and tell him to go over it again or slow down.
Sure.
Yeah, so I'll just give you a quick overview of, you know, essentially some of the basic functions of the system.
Can we talk before we get into that, I guess architecture-wise, this looks like a web browser.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, the interface for them is all through web page?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, and this is a hosted system purely?
Correct.
Okay, so nothing installed on site, it's all just configuration of this web interface.
Right, which is already done.
Processes. Okay.
Yeah, we turned up their instance. They do need to have, and correct me if I'm wrong, Zach, they need to have cookies enabled in the browser, and they need to have Adobe Reader installed on the PC.
You gotta have Adobe, okay.
Adobe Reader is not required. Most web browsers include a PDF application. The only time you need Adobe Reader is if you're trying to print. Some of the barcodes can be a little finicky with the sizing in the default kind of you know, web browser PDF viewers. So for some of the oddball like 2x1 labels and such, you might need the Adobe PDF Reader. But yeah, just a web browser pretty much, and you know, most of the things you need are included right in the web browser.
Any restrictions on which browser to use?
We prefer Chrome or Firefox. Internet Explorer 11 can be a little glitchy at times with some of the advanced features we're using. And obviously older versions of Internet Explorer, that can be quite a mess. So we prefer if you're on the latest version of Chrome or Firefox. However, we can, you know, adapt if you do have a requirement for Internet Explorer 11 or such.
Okay, what about Edge?
Edge is Internet Explorer 11. They're pretty much the same thing. Under the hood, at least. So we also do support Safari. Again, Safari can be a little finicky, but we do support it. You know, however, again, like I said, we prefer Chrome or Firefox. They're just a little bit more stable, a little easier to test.
And so, go ahead.
The mobile software, basically for the tablets is the same way. It's, again, just a web interface. So, again, you can use, Chrome or Safari or Firefox on that as well. And just load it up on like an Android device or whatever, or Kindle, I believe is this case.
Okay. And so in that use case where someone's using a Kindle, where are they using that device to do inventory, scanning barcodes?
Well, I don't know necessarily about the barcode scanning.
Yeah, they're going to use a Bluetooth scanner with it. So,
okay, there you go.
That's the plan. I tested it here with a Bluetooth scanner. Now,
okay.
So there is a mobile interface for that. So.
And through that, you can do stock adjustments and different types of transactions, inventory counts. There's a lot of, different functionality, built into this. It's not the full application, though. It just gives you a way to, work next to the primary application, essentially.
Okay. Probably no configuration knobs or anything in that interface.
No, again, pretty much you just open up the web page and you're good to go.
And so these are running on servers and data centers somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, we have a data center down in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania, so on the East Coast here.
Okay.
That's out of Philly.
And each customer is sharing servers or on their own server. How's that all work out?
In general, they're sharing a server, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we do balance it so that we do have some heavy use clients, so we do monitor the server usage and we balance them across the servers, depending on, 3 client systems and 5 client systems, 20 client systems and such.
Gotcha. Yeah, small user systems putting on individual servers would be a complete waste.
Right, generally, yeah.
Yeah, the resource, it's not very resource intensive. So, we have I don't know how many we have on one server, 50 or something of these small clients.
On the dev server, yeah. we have like 120.
Yeah. So, but we've never really had a performance problem, so until we start to get some gripes,
yeah,
then we'll split people off.
Yeah, and spin up a new box.
Right.
And how's the licensing work? You said it's perpetual or concurrent?
Well, it's concurrent users, so you can have hundreds of users defined in the application, but you only get as many concurrent as you've paid for. So
there. That's a yearly.
Well, it's monthly.
Or it's a monthly.
The cloud. The cloud. Well, there's two. There's what SSEC has purchased so far is cloud-based. Software as a service, which is $80 per month per concurrent user with a 3-user minimum, which is what, or no, I guess, actually I take it back. I'm doing the math wrong. They bought 5 because ABR gets 40%. So ABR is getting $160 a month and we're getting $240 a month. So they bought a 5-user system. Okay, but they could host it themselves on their own server, and then those 5 licenses are turned into $1,000 each, and with, I forget what ABR charges, 20% a year, annual maintenance fee.
Oh, so it's a one-time plus maintenance. Got it.
Right. If they want to host it themselves, which isn't what they've done so far.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can go either way.
How many customers have you guys done that are hosting themselves? Percent, maybe.
I think most of them decide to host on their own networks, to be honest. It's only within the past few years we started, really hosting on our own servers.
Right.
A lot of people, they'll have their own infrastructure to begin with, so they'll just put it on that infrastructure instead of, going off-site in the cloud.
Is it Microsoft stack?
Uh-huh.
Technology-wise? Yeah, so SQL Server. Got it.
Right. Yeah, I was going to, just to tag on to what Zach said, historically people purchased more. We've been doing this for a long time. Our first cloud-based stuff was in 1997 for the Navy, and you know, this whole software as a service in the cloud, you know, weren't even they weren't even talked about, you know, for 15 more years. So traditionally, people were buying it, and now in the last 3 or 4 years, it's become, you know, much more in vogue to just use the service and not have the overhead in-house. So, you know, we've seen a big swing, and but we still, I mean, we've sold a couple in the last couple of weeks where, you know, it's like I've got a server and I want to put it on my own, so we don't really care. You know, when people look at the cost, it's more expensive to do the software as a service if you do it on the back of a napkin really quick. But, you know, a lot of customers nowadays just don't even want to consider it because they don't want the overhead of the, you know.
Right, or they don't have an IT guy that can set up a server and maintain it.
Exactly.
Right, they just don't want the overhead. So
does this then integrate with accounting packages at all, or is this standalone?
Yep, nope, QuickBooks and Sage 50.
Okay.
You have to purchase those interfaces, though. So we sell them separately.
Do we know, are they looking to do that?
Not on the PO. Yeah, not on the PO we got so far.
Okay.
Sounds like QuickBooks would apply, but they haven't got it so far.
Okay. And what does that process look like? Is it, I mean, I get with QuickBooks it's pretty well defined, right? It's not a custom thing every time.
Right. Right.
Okay.
We sync up, and there's an initial setup, which is what most of the expense is. It's $1,380, and most of the expense is time to set up, get the two in sync with the items and all the supporting lists, units of measure, and customers and suppliers and all that stuff. And then once it's in sync, hopefully they stay in sync. And there's really no reason they shouldn't stay in sync. It's pretty much a one-way interface, Kurt.
Yeah.
So we want people, the default is to have purchase orders and shipping orders created in Inventory Pro, and then they magically appear in QuickBooks.
Right.
So the interface pushes all of the new customers, all the new suppliers, all the new items, everything over to QuickBooks, including sales orders and purchase orders. So they can invoice in either system, but they do all of the financials in QuickBooks. They'll receive payments in QuickBooks.
Right. Okay.
But if we do purchase orders in Inventory Pro, then the par levels work. You know, we don't. Otherwise, we don't know what's on order, and then when somebody goes to do another order, you know, we'll double up on an order because we don't know that somebody ordered something directly in QuickBooks. And the same with sales orders. If you take a shipping order in QuickBooks and it's not an Inventory Pro, we don't know that there's a commitment to a customer. So that's why the preferred interface is to do them in Inventory Pro. We could flip it around and have QuickBooks feed Inventory Pro, but so far we've been able to discourage people enough that I don't think we've talked about it, but I can't remember us actually doing it, right, Zach?
Not for QuickBooks. I think we have a client right now that wants to do something like that for Sage. But yeah, it's something we discourage just because it is much more difficult when you have to copy data in both directions. You know, and make sure you're not duplicating things. It's a little bit tougher of a programming challenge.
Right. Okay. And from a mobile perspective, you've got a mobile version of the website, but is there a client app that runs on like Motorola devices or anything like that?
Go ahead, Zach.
We do have the legacy Inventory Pro mobile software that runs on some of the Windows 2003 and Windows 2005 devices, installed directly on the device. But primarily, you know, nowadays we're focusing on the you know, web-based mobile version. It actually has a local cache of the database and a local storage of a lot of the information. So you can actually work offline for short periods. And if you lose connection, it will actually batch up the transactions and store them. So it allows you to work offline for periods. It allows you to work off-site for periods while still kind of keeping in sync as far as your transactions and things go.
That's both the web version and the client version?
That's the mobile version of the web. So right here, this software.
Yeah, that one. Okay. The other one doesn't do that?
No, the other one you need to be online for this. You can do a lot more bulk transactions in the main system here, and there's a lot more data that you're passing back and forth. Unfortunately, we only have about 5 megabytes to work with, so we're somewhat limited in our capability as far as integrating that into the primary application. In the mobile application, though, we're able to.
I was mentioning the other version of mobile on like the Windows mobile platform.
Oh, okay. To be honest, I don't know. I don't know how that other version works entirely. I've only done minor support on it. Ben might have a little bit more insight.
Kurt, what was the question again about IP mobile? We have two products. We have IP mobile and JP mobile. IP mobile is for Windows mobile, and JP mobile is jQuery, and basically does anything with a decent browser.
Yeah. So iPad, iPhone, Kindle,
Android, yeah, Kindle.
And then people are just using Bluetooth barcode scanners to that. That's typical kind of setup. Okay.
Yes, Zach has a beta version of using the built-in camera.
Still working out some bugs in that, though. It's a little finicky.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
Too. It's slow. We had a client in California that was talking about, there's actually a government program that gives away cell phones, believe it or not, to indigent people for some reason. And they were going to use our system to, on street
track the
corners,
serial numbers. Or...
Yeah, scan the barcode on the cell phones when they give them to people. And we were going to use the camera to do that. But, they decided to do, I think, either not do the system or do it in-house. So we didn't get that, but we did most of the work. So,
okay.
But it's not really practical for a warehouse.
Right.
Yeah, it's normally too dark in most warehouses, but is it an off-site, need to do a quick transaction or something, it's not a bad option.
Low volume.
Okay. All right.
So we created a test system for ABR.
You did. Okay.
Yeah, Mark Steger has. Well, actually, I think mobile user with a password of 1234 works on everything nowadays. So if you wanted to log into, we can send you a link. And mobile user with a password of 1234 should work. And
yes, you can email me the detail for that as well as the detail for the instance for SSEC. So I have that.
Yeah, sure.
For records.
And we can email you a Microsoft Word version of our user manual.
Yeah,
that might help you with your requirements document. You can cut and paste.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And Steger also did a requirements document for, what's the name of it was some telecommunications wiring company.
Right,
I think
and
we
looked at that. Yeah, it's telecom, and we looked at that, and it was too broad. That really didn't go into what I was kind of expecting it to have. So.
Oh, okay. All right.
You guys are East Coast, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. You have a lot of partners out on the West?
Partners? Not really, no.
No?
You guys.
Like more AB&Rs, essentially? Okay.
No, I'm trying to think. We have, oddly enough, we have one in London. We have one in Panama. We have you guys. Not a lot of resellers. So we encourage you guys to sell as much as you can wherever you want.
All right. All right. So what do you normally show people when they haven't seen this before?
Mute, Zach. It's all yours.
Okay. Let me take over the test system here. And let me zoom it in a little bit. Okay, so I'll just log back out and just come in. So this is the primary screen, the login screen. One thing I didn't mention earlier is you can actually set this up to require HTTPS security and such. Our default demo site does not require that though. So here you just put in your name, password, and log in. That'll bring you to our item master list screen. This is like the primary screen in the system. Essentially, this shows you all of your stocking levels and allows you to edit the attributes of any of your parts, quickly print labels. Moving across a bit, you can also like view images and assign multiple images to each item. And you can assign as many images as you want. You can have anywhere between 1 and 50,000 if you'd like. It is a linked database, so you can add as much as you'd like in there.
Okay.
We also have the history tabs where you can view the entire history for an item or a part. So if this was a larger system, you'd have anywhere between, I have some clients that have hundreds of thousands of transactions in here. And I have other clients that, well, they do an initial inventory and then, a few stock adjustments after that, and it's pretty idle. But this will show you all the transactions that have ever occurred with this part. You can see here this is a received transaction. We also have issue and move stock transactions as well. Over here on reorder levels, this is where you can set your minimums, your maximums for each part in warehouse. So over here you can see this part is only assigned to the Acme Medical warehouse. If you had it assigned to any of the other warehouses in this system, I believe there's 4 total, yep. You would see those here as well. Here you can select the default supplier to reorder from, reorder point, which is like your minimum, your fill to, which is pretty much your maximum, and then the economic order allows you to specify what quantities you'd like to reorder in. So if you had like cases of 6 or anything like that, just a standard order size, you can specify that right there.
All right.
Any questions so far?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I saw that you do, it looks like you do serial tracking and lot tracking.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do. So if I go over to the in-stock area, okay, you can see here we have a serial and lot column here. Don't think we have any serial assigned to that item. You can specify a primary serial number, an alternate serial number, and or an RFID tag as well. Let me find a part that's serialized. Ah, here we go. W60. Okay, so here you can see the serial numbers. These are auto-assigned serial numbers, so these are generated when you bring the stock into the system. You can also import serial numbers when you receive the stock as well. We do have utilities that when you receive stock into the system, we can have labels automatically print out or things of that nature. So that is something that, we do have some clients that every time they receive a serialized part, they have automatically have a label print out for that item. Alternatively, we have some other clients that just want the item ID printed out, or an item ID and description, short label. So that can be integrated and done there. We also support expiration dates, and there's another feature on this screen that I think is turned off right now, but we do have a number of different functionalities here as far as, like I said, expiration, serial lot numbers, and things of that nature. And this is the locate and move stock screen. So this is one of the standard screens in the system. This allows you to view every individual lot of stock that we have. And Ben's going to slow me down.
I'm just going to, since we were talking about item attributes, Zach, why don't you jump into an item and just go through all the different costs and
Will do.
certifications and all that crap too.
Mm-hmm. Let me jump back out there. Okay, so on the far left here we have the edit column. This will allow you to edit the attributes for this part. Pretty much wherever you see this pencil icon, you can edit the attributes of something. So in here, this is the item master record. there's about 50 or 60 fields on here. We have some of the basic ones at the top here for like description, created by, last modified by, things of that nature. Default suppliers. Here we have reorder level default. So if you want a warehouse-wide, or excuse me, system-wide default for your reorder points, you can specify that here. So if you want all your warehouses to, by default, have a specific reorder level for a part, you can set that up here.
On the warehouses, is there a limit on how many different warehouses you can have in the system?
No, there is not. We actually have a client has about 520 warehouses. They actually treat each one of their individual trucks and trailers as a warehouse. But you can go as high as you'd like there. It is a standard SQL database on the back end, so you can keep creating as many warehouses as you'd like, as many parts as you'd like.
Okay. So the cost is purely on user access?
Yes.
Okay.
And the system can handle very large amounts of data as well. Along with that, we do have some clients that have millions of stock transactions and things in their systems over the years. So.
Okay.
Kurt, if you want to, we'll entertain any sort of pricing model you want. So if you want to do something per transaction, that's the way to make money if you can get it. So, by all means, we're flexible. We'll do whatever you want. As long as it makes money for both of us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Moving down the screen, we do have the assemblies and serializing here. So you can specify if something is an assembly by checking the item is a make box. You can also require serial numbers, and the next box down requires unique serial numbers, so you can't reuse them or split lots and things of that nature. And then we have the auto assign button as well. Then we also have the engineering part number. So this ties in with some manufacturing and other things of that nature. We can also support UPC numbers as well here. We just changed the name of the field essentially and toggle a few options.
Okay.
Down here we have the cost and the pricing. So we have the base cost and the default pricing. But then as you move down the screen here, you can see we also support pricing levels, and you can specify that on a per customer basis. And we also support case pricing. So if you're ordering in a larger unit of measure, let's say someone's ordering by the box instead of by the individual item, you can specify a slightly lower price level there, which is used in the shipping order modules. And at the very bottom, we have the certification and inspections. This ties in primarily with companies that have tools and equipment out in the field, or that sustain a lot of use. So here you can set up inspection periods, 30 days, 90 days, 180 days, etc. And then you can require a certification and a pass-fail check, or some sort of status check to verify the functionality. You can actually customize the pass-fail status codes and such. So we have clients that use this to verify tools, that they work, that they meet a certain RPM level, things of that nature, and then track that in the system.
Calibrations.
Mm-hmm.
And is there alerting then, I guess, based on those dates?
Yes, it will show you what is coming due. We can also create, in our system we have a notifications module. So it ties in with like web browser notifications. So I don't know if I can generate one, but they'll normally appear in the bottom right corner. So we can either tie them in with that, or we can tie them in with emails. It depends on what the use case is for the client. I think we have the primary client that's using it. They mostly just run the reports because they have so many tools. The individual notifications would swamp them, so they just run the reports, and then that's pretty much what they certify that week. Certify or inspect that week. But you can, we can easily create a notification to show that. The notifications module, we use that in a variety of ways. We have some clients that they like they would like to be notified every time a work order changes status. We have some clients that want to know when things have been modified or edited and things of that nature. So the notifications module is fairly versatile in that, and we can pretty much set up a trigger in the database to create a notification for pretty much any type of transaction.
Okay. And so it can either be a browser pop-up or an email, or can you do text too, or?
We haven't done text messages before. Primarily, it's just the notification, the browser notification, or the on the mobile devices, it'll pop up as a mobile notification in your notifications tab, and again the emails. So.
Gotcha. All right. And we've been looking at all these fields on Item Master. I'm guessing there's like user definable ones. Any limit on those?
We do have some customizability in there. So via the customize option, you can actually change and edit the fields. Now, granted, it is very easy to break the system through this screen, so it's not something we recommend the end user to do. But a trained technician can easily come in here and make alterations and changes. We do have a lot of optional fields behind the scenes. You can see here we have a lot of checkboxes, strings, doubles, longs, etc. As extra fields. And then there's also some down here at the bottom, like the image file fields and a few others that just aren't used. They're only kept around for backwards compatibility, so they can be repurposed and reused for different purposes.
Okay. Yeah, and there's an add line down there, so you can add an attribute.
And then you can change the name and change the field type over here on the right side. And then we have the toggleable fields here that you can turn them on or off, set them to read only, things of that nature.
Cool.
And then there's some crazy settings in here that allow you to, this is where you can break the screen easily by playing with these settings. You can set up like lookups or, different types of, ways to show different data on the screen here. So like if you wanted to show the date this was last edited or the date that a transaction was last posted against something, you can do that via the SQL here.
Where
but that
did
gets a little
come from?
Complicated.
How did you get that pop-up?
By clicking on the More option on the right side.
On the side. Okay, gotcha. All right.
And then these can be set up for each group. So each different group in the system can be assigned different fields. So we have some clients that only want employees to be able to see certain fields, or only want customers to be able to see very minimal information, and you can do that by toggling the options on and off here.
So people are sharing access to their inventory system with customers?
Yes, we actually have a quick order screen where the customers can come right into the system and generate an order. So if they need to reorder something, they can come right in, see what's available, place the order. We also have it for suppliers, where the suppliers can come into the system and see what you have in stock from them, and then they can so if you expect there's different companies and different ways that they do this, but there's some clients that they want their suppliers just to restock them, whenever they're starting to run low. So, that's why we have that ability in there. But again, with customers, they can log right in and see their existing orders, see order status, things of that nature. And all the permissions and such are controlled through the group's permissions, through the system groups and group permission modules. So you have a very fine-grained control over what different users can see. Each different type of screen has its own options here. So.
Yeah. Okay.
And same thing for reports. We have fine-grained report permissions too. So for each type of report in the system, you can toggle on and off whether they can see that or not.
Okay.
And that's a brief overview of just some of the attributes and stuff. Only thing I didn't show, I think, is the warehouse assignments, and that's pretty straightforward. You just click on the blue links here and select which warehouses and click Save. And that can turn the part on and off for different warehouses. There are some controls for that. You can't remove a warehouse assignment if there's existing stock. So you can see here Acme Medical has some existing stock for that item. But it's pretty straightforward.
So you'd have to move that out of there if you wanted to delete it or whatever first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I'll just jump over and show you the basic stock transactions. So this is the receive stock screen. This is obviously where you do your positive adjustments and bring stock into the system. The screen has a few different views that you can select from. So if you're using expiration dates, or if you're just scanning in serial numbers or different things like that, we have different views to accommodate that. But this is the default view here. The default can be changed in the administrator options area. And I'll just select the part that doesn't require a serial number because I don't feel like messing around with that. And you just have to fill out a few attributes. The only three required attributes are your item ID, the number of units, and a location. And then you just click Save, and it'll automatically generate an adjustment number and pull in the unit cost. And then you can click the Receive button to receive this stock into the system.
Got it.
Now this will be recorded as a physical inventory adjustment. You can specify the type of adjustment on the left here. And that's just to keep track of different types of adjustments. So, these manual adjustments through here are tracked one way. Adjustments through purchase orders and work orders are tracked, separately.
Okay.
And that way you have an accurate audit trail.
The list of locations come from?
Locations comes from right here, inventory and then locations. And you can define as many locations as you'd like in whichever warehouses you would like. So I can just jump between warehouses here, and you can see the different defined locations we have in the default system here. And locations have a few attributes. You can actually set up pick paths, which ties into the order picking module. So if your warehouse has a specific flow, it will show you which items to pull in the order that you would be walking through the warehouse. You can mark an entire location as hold if you don't want that stock to be usable. So if there's some sort of damage, or let's say the roof leaked on it or something, you can mark it as hold until it's been checked and verified.
Okay.
And then here's the warehouse list as well. And these are all, again, user manageable, and you can customize these if you need to.
Okay. And on the printing side of things, you mentioned printing a couple of times. Mm-hmm. What hardware and software are people using in that case?
Primarily we use Zebra printers. As far as software, normally we print them right out of the application here. So let me pull up a label quick here. So this is just a standard 2x1 barcode, and this can be printed straight out to a label printer, right from your computer actually, if you have the Zebra hooked up to this. We also have utilities that we can hook up on a computer at a loading dock or something similar, and essentially they monitor for transactions, and then you can have it automatically print out, again via Zebra printer, labels for inbound stock or outbound stock, new assets, things of that nature.
Okay, so you just store the label design in the website there and feed it straight into the Zebra printer. Got it.
Mm-hmm. And these are generated based off of the information in the system. So whether it's a serial number or an RFID tag or et cetera, it'll generate that barcode based right off that information. Okay. And then you can scan that right back into the system. And we also have other tools that tie into that. We have a barcode catalog. So essentially, we have some clients that will put, in like a 3-ring binder, they'll actually put like a barcode catalog of common items in case a label's ever damaged or broken. And you can do it with pictures or without pictures. We have 2 different versions of that.
Cool.
And we also have, there's a location labels as well, where you can generate, again, just default labels for all of your locations in your warehouse for scanning.
Got it.
And back on the item master list here, you can see down here, here's the 50 units that we received. And if we look at the history, it'll show you that information, the date and the time, and exactly what happened with that particular transaction.
Nice.
And if we click on this blue link here, we can actually locate the exact stock record. So if we wanted to move that to a new location or anything of that nature, we can do that from this screen. So we can move it to damaged goods by selecting the location to move it to and clicking mark. And then you just click move units down at the bottom. And that'll move that over to damaged goods, as you can see here. And that's as simple as a stock transaction is within the warehouse. To move stock between warehouse, you have to use the put in transit, and then you can put that in transit to another physical warehouse or location here. And it works fairly similarly, but there's just a receive process. So it's a two-step process. You have to send it out, and then once the location receives it, they have to receive the stock back in.
Yeah. So does it create a shipping label or something when you do that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, it creates a transit slip. I don't know if we have any in the base system here, but it will create a transit slip which will appear on this page, and you can print that transit slip, sort of as like not a bill of lading, but similar to that, where it shows you exactly what's expected. Yeah, packing list.
Yeah.
And the last basic stock adjustment is the issue stock. So here you can just same as the receive screen, you can select the item. So we'll select that CW again, and we'll just select 25. And on this screen, it's a little simpler actually. You don't actually have to pick the location. The system will actually automatically try to pull from a default location. You can also use the load all utility, which will actually search the warehouse and find the oldest stock based on first in, first out, and select that for you. And then once you have this all filled out, same as on the receive stock screen, just click the finish button, and you'll get a little message here saying successful, or if there was a problem, for example, let's say the serial number was not available or the location was invalid, it would tell you here. It also gives you the adjustment number, and you can actually print a issue slip right off the screen as well. And that's most of the basic stock adjustments. Aside from that, we do have stock leasing, and we have cycle counts as well. And there's a few other utilities, but those are quite deeper into the system. I don't know if we need to go over those just yet.
Yeah. All right. So configuration-wise, everything is from this interface that a customer or a partner would get involved with?
Pretty much, yeah. Primarily it would be either the screen customization, as we showed you earlier, or the permissions customization. That's mostly what goes on. Aside from that, there is the administrative options page. There are a number of settings here. Most of these we don't normally play with, but there are a few, such as the committed quantities calculations and things of this nature that you can play with. Some of these are explained in the manual, but not all. Here's another screen which is commonly used. This defines the formats for purchase orders, shipping orders, stock adjustments. You can define your own format here for how you want those numbers to appear.
Okay.
It's all pretty, nothing too crazy here. The only thing I would say is until your technicians have an idea of the system, I wouldn't play with too many of these options, because some of them are legacy options in the system that we only keep around for backwards compatibility, so they can have some unintended consequences. But most of them, I'd say at least 50% of them actually do what is advertised in the description.
And under reports, we've got probably some canned stuff and a report writer, or?
You can create your own reports. I forget, to be honest, off the top of my head, I don't remember where you do that from. I think the only way is to generate go off of an existing report. So we have a number of default reports. So here's I think we have about 20 inventory reports, and then each different area has between 10 and 15 moving down.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I think we have about 250 in the default system. Not all those are necessarily turned on though. You can create new ones though. From definitions, they're pretty much just looking at they're pretty much just SQL statements. Most of the reports. So they can be modified. Some are a little bit more complicated, like this one. Some are much easier and simpler to work with. To create a new one, I think you can just click the Add New button from this page and then generate a new one. So that's from clicking on Definitions and then Add New.
Gotcha.
That should generate a new one, and then you can, modify that and play with that. Create new definitions. There is a certain format that needs to be followed, so you would need to kind of follow the existing format here to get started until you know what everything does necessarily. But it's not too complicated or crazy once you get the hang of it.
And looks like there's online help down there at the bottom as well.
Yes, not for everywhere. For some pages, that's something we're still importing the entire. We're importing basically bits and pieces of the manual into that over time. So you can get different help in different areas of the system. It's not fully imported yet, though, so it's not on every screen just yet.
Okay.
So you can see here, this one's empty for the assemblies list. And then what else to go over? Oh yeah, I forgot one of the fun features here. You can actually click on any of the column headers in the new version of the system here to sort by that column.
Okay.
Makes it a little bit easier to find what you're looking for. As well as that, we have the search box up here. You can search on any of the fields on this list. We also have the filters area, so you can define a little bit more complicated filters from here. So you can, define like if you're looking for a specific value that's in stock or something of that nature, you can really refine it via these, and you can add as many different filters here as you'd like.
This
is for every report.
Yeah, this is probably one place where users really get in trouble because they'll apply a global filter, and then somebody else will say, the system's broken, blah 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 blah, and they won't know.
Like that cycle count a few weeks ago where she forgot she had the filter on and sent it to a manager and we got yelled at.
Right.
So that was pretty funny.
These filters are powerful but dangerous. Zach, did you
does show you right at the bottom of the screen which filters you have applied.
But they're hard to notice.
Yeah.
Did you show them the pictures, Zach?
Yes, I do. Did I believe?
Yeah, we saw pictures.
Okay, did you show them the catalogs and the barcode, those two reports I like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with the the barcode catalog list, and I also showed location labels.
Okay.
And you can also print any of these reports here as well via the print button, and then you can just print this to a PDF straight from here.
And everything goes to Excel too.
Yep, and the export button sends it to a little Excel file.
Maybe not so little, depending on the...
Yeah. Yeah, there is a limit on the Excel to, I think, 100,000 rows to prevent anybody from breaking the system by exporting, like the audit trail, a few million records or anything there.
Did you show them the import-export utilities?
Don't believe I did. So these are a few, basic import and exports we have. You can bring things into the system. So essentially, you can do an initial parts and inventory import here. This can also be used to initialize warehouses and units of measure and different things. It's one of the most powerful imports we have. We also have like the bill of materials, some different transactions, suppliers catalog, different things here. And you can download the templates and fill them out and just re-upload them back to the system. There's a little test data in some of them to show you how to get started.
Got it. Okay.
And then we also have
something that typically a customer does, or do you guys do those?
It depends on the customer. It depends how much faith we have in the customer, to be honest, because you can break the system if you import something 2 or 3 times by accident. You'll have 2 or 3 records for some things in some cases. Not everything, but there are certain ones of those imports that can be a little finicky. The item master one is fairly stable. It does duplicate checks for everything before it allows you to process a transaction, but you can still wind up creating extra warehouses if you have the warehouse names typed differently. You can wind up creating different units of measure if you have them, if you have different like uppercase and lowercase type things. So It's a little finicky. It depends on, how, like I said, how much trust we have in the client, whether we show that to them or not, to be quite honest.
Pam calls that dirty data.
And then we do have one other import utility as well. This one's a little harder to screw up, I think. The scanner interface, I just rebuilt this recently for another client, but essentially you can import data onto the screen and process like a bulk transaction. So the client I just rebuilt this for, they do very large cycle counts at the end of the year. So each one of their locations will generate a spreadsheet, and they'll import that into here and populate this screen. Then there's a validation step, and then they send this over to the cycle count module to be processed. But you can pull in large transactions through this. I think they're normally doing between 400 to 1,000 lines per transaction. So it's much faster to just enter that in bulk than have someone enter it in line by line via the mobile interface or anything like that.
Okay.
I think that's most of the standard stuff. It does get a little, there is a little bit of a rabbit hole in some areas of the system, with all the different functionality we've done over the years. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that gives me a pretty good idea anyways. It seems like you got definitely the inventory and the asset use case taken care of here, so unless they're looking to do something other than that, we should be pretty good to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to have a question here after I see it, Kurt, and typically how would you do this? Because to me it seems like if he goes down there, Kurt, you're almost like trying to walk them through the system to set it up. What titles do you want, etc. Where I guess I didn't envision that. Is that typically what you do with Inventory Pro when you install a customer? Just kind of walk through. Do you first train them and then walk through the screens, or do you first set it up to say how many fields?
Normally, what we'll do is the walkthrough like we did today, and then we'll install a standard version of the system. So we'll install the base version of the system like you're seeing here today, just obviously without the parts and things in it. From there, we'll normally do an import with the client. Depending on like I said earlier, how we gauge the client, we'll either do that import for them or show them the existing import tools. Basically from there, if there's something that they say, in the initial demo as we're walking through the system that they need to see or need to have, we might do that, during the setup process, during the import and export process. But generally, there's so much in the system, it takes a little while for people to really figure out what is actually there and what they need that isn't already there. So it is a little bit of a drawn-out process in some cases.
Okay, so you kind of do it like almost reverse how we do it as far as usually the SRDS goes and says, how do you want the system, and then how do we configure it so that you can use the system, and then we train. So Kurt,
well, the difference for us is we have the standard product and the demo out on our website. So before we've even talked to most clients, they've already seen what we have to offer there. So it's a little bit of a different process there. But we do sometimes have some existing requirements as well. So some clients will come in with like here's some reports that we need to see, here's some special functionality that we need to bring over from an existing system, and then we'll build up a little bit of a requirements document there, and before we actually give them the system, we'll do the customization and the project work on that. It does depend on the client, as to how we do things.
Okay, well, kind of gather here and just decide what direction. Unless Kurt, you've got something, and to find out what Jason was thinking and what the best approach is. So I think we're informed enough at this point to be able to kind of make that decision. Yeah, I think so.
I just thought about this. Mark Favela sent me a really quick summary that you two may not have seen, which I'll forward right now.
The SOW for the Southwest?
Yeah, I wouldn't, it's like 10 bullet points. So I wouldn't.
That sounds great. All right, perfect.
I'll send it to Zach too.
And then Zach, is your role to install? Are you the programmer or the developer, or what's your role?
We do everything here. We all do everything.
Oh, everything.
Yeah, I'm one of the primary developers, but we also do installations and stuff as well. Yeah, and the main reason for that is just some servers are just not not all servers are made the same. So, for example, we had one last week where it was a small business server, with all sorts of custom applications on it, and it took a lot of troubleshooting. And I don't even think we got that installed last week. I think that got put off till this week. So, we do kind of spread the work around. Everybody does everything, just because things don't always go to plan, especially with customer installations, pre-existing servers, things of that nature.
Usually, what we do, Pam, is we assign somebody to the project.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then they'll do soup to nuts on that project, so the customer doesn't get bounced around too much, and there's not a whole lot of. One of the problems with Inventory Pros is a lot of flexibility. So, my phrase is there's many different ways to skin a cat, and if one guy does the install and another person does the training and another person does the support, and they're all skinning the cat differently, it can really put the customer into a tailspin of, I'm confused.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to keep the message as much as we can, basically with a project manager on this end. So the customer would get very familiar with dealing with, one primary point of contact from us.
Mm-hmm.
But in this
the other
case,
thing we run into is customization and things of that nature as well. So we try to keep it all, within one person or two people, just to make sure, someone isn't jumping into customization blind and then changing a configuration for a customer that might, break something else. Because like we said, it is very customizable. There are a lot of options. So.
Right. And in this case, I mean, when it goes through ABR, you guys are supposed to be the first line of support. So we're really expecting to hear mostly, I don't know if it's going to be Kurt or what, but, we're not really expecting to hear much directly from SSEC. We're expecting to hear from you guys. So I think that's the way it's intended. The relationship is intended to be. So.
Got it. All right.
So I just sent you that. I'm sending in the process of sending you the user manual too.
Okay. And those questions are exactly what they put in our little statement of work. That's cute.
Yeah, and then if you can send the links and the credentials for access to the demo and then Southwest site.
Yep.
And we'll work on getting something scheduled with them to kick this thing off.
So the user manual, I'm going to send you the Word document, and it may have some highlighting and stuff in it. But just, you can rebrand it, do whatever you want with it. All right. So are we good?
I think so. Yeah, that's.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Pleasure.
That'll
Thanks,
be a good
guys.
start. Yeah, indeed.
Appreciate your time, definitely.
Yeah, and as much notice as you can give us on whatever you want to do with training, on-site, even, the more notice you can give us, the better. But
yeah,
to be honest, most of the training we do is remote through GoToMeeting.
Okay.
Just because on-site stuff, any more than an hour or so with a person and their eyes start to roll back. So, we like to do key operator training, an hour or two a day over a week or two.
Uh-huh.
And it's much more effective for both sides, especially if we find a bug or, some feature's not quite right for them. The next day, hopefully we'll have it fixed and we can re-review whatever was broken the previous day.
Okay.
So, but we'll do whatever they want or whatever you guys want.
Well, we appreciate that, definitely. So,
Cool.
okay.
Thanks,
All
guys.
right.